Hey everyone, I'm Theresa Kulikowski. Really happy to be here with you. I wanted to share a little message, just a reflection upon the Olympics. I'm sure we're all watching the Olympics, and really we sit back in awe and we watch these athletes, and it's really easy to forget that everything that goes into being the best of the best is really beyond our comprehension. We see them on the podium, stand receiving their medals, and really only the athlete and a few very close-knit people in their support system know the blood, sweat, the tears that went into that round piece of metal draped across their neck. So becoming Olympian really is a full-time job. It takes everything within you, in your body, your mind, your spirit, just to get there, and then of course winning a medal is just very, very rare. It takes even more and maybe a little bit of luck. You also have to have a village, that village that holds you up when you don't think you can stand. You need a guide, a coach, a cheering squad, your friends, your family, to really be there for you as you as an athlete undertake one of the most daunting endeavors ever. I really know this journey myself personally as a former elite and collegiate gymnast. I did endure the blood, the sweat, the tears, the injuries, the recovery, the heartbreak, the difficult days in the gym, the great days in the gym. I had my village. I had my coaches, my family, my friends. And I missed the Olympics by one spot. I had a fall on a very important day. Who knows, if I hadn't have had that fall, maybe I would have been on the Magnificent Seven team. But I got that, never sought after Olympic alternate title, which is a kind of a bittersweet title. I was the Olympic alternate, so close yet so far away. And until the last decade or so, we've thought of athletics as just a physical endeavor, at least in the eyes of the world. Everybody on the outside looking in, they're thinking this is just physical, and it hasn't really been in the discussion much in terms of mental health. But over the last, I would say, decade, maybe even half a decade since the last quad, people have been talking more about mental health. Simone Biles, Michael Phelps, Naomi Osaka, they're really bringing mental health into the spotlight. And Simone talks about how going to see her therapist is really a sign of strength, not of weakness. So we're reframing mental health, which is really, really important. As a former athlete myself, I dealt with the physical challenges. I had injuries all the time. I tore both my ACLs. I tore my rotator cuff. That was the last thing that I ever did in collegiate gymnastics. I had a tumor on my spinal cord. It just seemed like there was always something physically. And then I started really dealing with mental health challenges after the 1996 Olympics when I missed the Olympic team by one spot. I had my first bout of depression, kind of an identity crisis. And then I struggled with things like disordered eating, anxiety, and those things followed me beyond my athletic career. So I've dealt with the physical, I've dealt with the mental, and really for a lot of my life. And I believe that we do our athletes a disservice when we separate out the body and the mind. Every aspect of who we are is so intricately connected within our own beings and around our bodies. We're so connected with our environment, our natural environment, with the human beings that are around us. We're just intricately connected in every single way, and we do ourselves and our athletes a disservice when we separate that out and we say we're doing physical training, we're doing mental training. These don't have anything to do with each other. We obviously know that's not true. So we need to start looking at things more holistically, and for everybody involved in athletics to really understand the complex nature of being human, and even more so the complex nature of being a high-level athlete. This has become my life passion, supporting elite level athletes in a holistic way during their time in sport, as they transition out of sports, and even beyond, to be that source of support beyond as they rediscover a new identity, as they find different passions in their life outside of athletics. I would have done so many things differently. As I look back on my career, I would have taken better care of myself, had I known all of these things. Maya Angelou has a really beautiful quote. She says, "Do the best that you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better." And I really believe in this quote. It's a guiding light for my own work and for my life, really. I think back on things I wish I would have known better, but we can't judge ourselves for what we didn't know. We can't judge other people for what they didn't know. I know some of my coaches would have done things differently had they known better. But then when we do know better, we try to do better. And that's where I'm at in my life right now. I know better in certain ways. I know the intricate connection of the mind and the body. So I'm trying to do better and trying to do better for others who have been in similar situations as mine. My background as a functional medicine physician assistant and a former elite gymnast, these perspectives have allowed me to truly provide the support that athletes need. I really believe that having lived it as an athlete helps me empathize with current athletes going through similar things. Not to say that I have the exact same experience, no two athletes ever do, but to at least empathize with what goes into training at a high level. And then I have the knowledge, the holistic medical knowledge that I have been gaining over the past 20 years, both in PA school as a physician assistant, through the Army. I worked with soldiers in the Army. I've done a lot of behavioral health work in psychiatry. And then I myself got very sick about a decade ago, and I have lost a lot of function of my body. And so I had to branch into alternative medicine. And so this whole functional and holistic medical lens is what I use when I'm working with athletes as well, because this holistic support is so important. And what do I mean by holistic? We're talking about balanced nutrition, adequate sleep and recovery. Rest and recovery is so essential and oftentimes gets overlooked. Balancing stress and joy, cultivating healthy and supportive relationships. These are all things that ultimately impact an athlete and their performance. And as I mentioned before, Olympic level athletes, they need a village of support. And sometimes having a person in that village who isn't so immersed in the day-to-day stress is helpful to provide a different perspective. That's what I really try to do. I'm not in the gym every day. All the work that I do is virtual. But I'm there for the athlete as a sounding board. I can be an unbiased ear just to listen. Sometimes people just need to vent and get it out. And you can't always do that with your teammates or your coaches or your parents. It can also be a compassionate guide to buffer the stress of the intense training. It's really all about balance, and I think we're learning that more and more. I don't expect a high-level athlete to have a, quote, balanced life, but there are ways to find more inner balance, and that's teaching things like mindfulness and meditation. These are things that I bring into every encounter if athletes are interested in learning about it. Mindfulness is that buffer to the stress of constantly striving for something in the future. It's wonderful to have goals, but it's easy to get caught up in what's the next goal, what's the next thing that I have to accomplish, and you're never fully here. And then in that way, the nervous system gets revved up. It never can fully recover. So mindfulness, meditation, bringing in joy in life, sleep, recovery, these are all things that are going to allow an athlete to train and push themselves in the training facility, in the gym, on the court, on the field, and then be able to decompress and allow the body to recover so that they're ready to then train and build more resilience and reserve on the next practice. So I consider myself an educated mentor for elite athletes, and really somebody who can collaborate with athletes and be there for them, be in their corner every step of the way. I myself have lived the highs and the lows of elite athletics, and I believe I can provide a hindsight is 2020 view for those in the thick of it or those who have recently retired. I have years of experience and education in holistic medicine, and I know that this integrative approach, which includes the mind, the body, the spirit, will support athletes in and out of the competitive arena, helping them reach their fullest potential for as long as they can in the sports that they love. So if you are interested in learning more about my work, please visit my website. I have a new book coming out, Beyond the Chalk Box. This is an interview with 10 Olympic level gymnasts, both Olympic alternates and Olympians, NCAA champions. I mean, again, these are the best of the best. And they're somewhat removed from their gymnastics career. So I have athletes back 1984 all the way to the recent 2020 games. And you get different perspectives. You really get to experience the highs and lows of Olympic endeavors through these gymnasts. And I'm just so thankful to them for sharing their story. I hope you enjoy hearing their stories and can, learn from and hopefully benefit from reading these incredible stories in Beyond the Chalk Box. I'm happy to send signed copies. Just let me know, and I look forward to hearing from you and connecting.